Tonight, James Toback reveals the agony and ecstasy of filmmaking in Seduced and Abandoned.
Jon Favreau tweets his way to the top of the food chain in Chef.
And Jesse Eisenberg suffers from an identity crisis in The Double. Hello.
Good evening.
Also tonight, rules are broken when bloodlines are challenged in Belle.
Bricks, hearts and mortar are in need of some renovation in a castle in Italy.
And we revisit Akira Kurosawa's Ran. But first, David, what's cooking in Chef?
Carl Casper, Jon Favreau, is a leading LA chef and is given a pretty free hand by restaurant owner Riva, Dustin Hoffman, as long as he sticks to a tried and true menu. When Ramsey Michelle Oliver Platt, an influential food critic and blogger, attacks the overfamiliar content of Casper's cooking, there's an incident that goes viral on social media. Out of work, Casper accepts an invitation from his ex-wife, Inez Sofia Vergara, to accompany her and their son Percy, MJ Anthony, to Miami, where another of her ex-husbands, Marvin, Robert Downey Jr., helps set up Casper with a food truck. Ex-assistant Martin, John Leguizamo, comes to help, and together with Percy, they drive back to LA via New Orleans and Austin, Texas, finding happy customers for their cooking along the way.
How's your daddy?
Here, talk to him.
Hi, Nez.
Hi, do you want me to come pick him up?
No, you're 1,000 miles away.
It's okay, I can go, get on a plane and pick him up.
No, it's fine. He's doing
I miss
great.
him. I want you to come home. I love him.
He's fine. He's got a couple of burns and 2 stitches from a paring knife.
Please, I'm serious. Let me go and pick him up.
You know your son's a cook now?
I'm a line cook.
He's a line cook.
Be careful.
I'll have him home in time for school.
It looks here like you guys are having so much fun.
All right, give me 1 second. Do you know your son could work a grill?
I had beer.
What is that?
He says he misses you.
I tell him I love him.
Chef is a basically simple but likeable comedy drama about the bonding between a neglectful father and his needy son. Favreau, who also wrote and directed, and young MJ Anthony are both very good in these roles. The food looks great, and the Cuban music is toe-tapping. Scarlett Johansson has a thankless role as Casper's head waitress and sometime girlfriend, and Robert Downey Jr. is hilarious in his too brief appearance. There's an interesting subtext here. Imagine Casper is a filmmaker, and Riva, the Dustin Hoffman character, is a producer who won't let him make the movies he wants to make. Then the role of the critic who destroys the artist's self-confidence with a cruel review takes on altogether another dimension. Margaret.
That is one way of looking at it, isn't it?
That's the way it immediately came to mind when I watched the film.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting that Oliver Platt's brother is actually a major food critic in the United States. But I think this is such a beautiful film in its naturalism. I think MJ Anthony's performance as the kid...
He's good, isn't he?
I mean, where do they find these children? They're so natural on camera.
And it's such a physical part, too, because he's doing all that cutting and cooking.
Well, and Jon Favreau, too, who's pretty good with the old knife.
Yeah.
Look, and she's lovely. There's a great naturalness to this. It's a really sweet film, and I was so inspired. I went home and cooked one of the recipes in the film, and it's delicious. I'm giving it 4 stars for the recipe.
And I'm giving it 3.5.
You gotta be kidding me.
Wow. You realize how many people have read this? I'm up to 2,000 followers since last night.
You're trending, bro.
They're sending me messages. They're goading me into responding.
Don't do that.
Don't do it, man. Don't respond. Don't do it. Take the high road. Respond.
I know, but half the people are saying he's right.
Yeah, but half the people are saying he's wrong. That's the internet.
That's right. Listen to him.
That's social media. You on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm Twitter.
What's your name?
Little Marty. But all the people following me are people I don't even want to hang out during the day. I avoid all... Hey, what are you doing? Don't do it. What are you writing?
Chef, don't. That's not a good idea.
Just listen. I won't send it until we all say it's okay. Why don't you come by again tonight? I got a whole new menu just for you,
Oh, no.
That's not good.
Give me the phone. Give me the phone.
Don't do it. That's out there now, bro.
It happens.
Why would you do
You
that?
can't take that back.
You know what? I threw down the gauntlet.
Chef opens nationally this week. Now, there were a few people who found Richard Ayoade's 2010 film Submarine a complete delight, a sign of a new talent. And now comes his second film, The Double, adapted from a Dostoevsky novella. It stars Jesse Eisenberg as Simon, a bureaucratic nerd who's like an invisible man. He's unable to make an impression in his job or in his relationship with co-worker Hannah, Mia Wasikowska, whom he spies on through a telescope. And then his double, James, also played by Eisenberg, who's smarter, sexier, more confident, everything that Simon is not, enters the scene.
And you? A coffee.
A coffee.
And scrambled eggs.
You don't serve breakfast in the evening?
Why not?
Because it says so on the menu.
Well, do you still have eggs here?
Yeah.
And do you have a frying pan?
Yeah.
Then do me a favor and make me some scrambled eggs.
Fine. Anything else?
Bacon.
Bacon.
And toast.
And toast.
And a beer.
And a beer. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Are you sure?
Just give me the damn food.
Initially, Simon is grateful for James' part in his life, but soon the doppelganger is taking over. It is the most drab-looking film with the most predictable outcome. Set in a faux Dickensian/Kafkaesque world, it is so self-consciously other that you scream for some sort of reality. Richard Ayoade co-wrote the film with Harmony Korine's brother Avi. It's a chance for Jesse Eisenberg to show his acting chops, creating two different personalities. I just wish I could have had more engagement with either of them. Mia Wasikowska is lovely, and there are appearances from a range of actors: Wallace Shawn, Noah Taylor, Sally Hawkins, James Fox, even Kathy Moriarty and Rade Sebedja, as well as Chris O'Dowd. This one, I have to admit, was not for me, David.
I loved Submarine. I thought it was a really original debut.
We
and
all
I was very much looking
responded to
forward
it.
to this one. So I was a little bit disappointed, mainly because of the look of it. It is, as you say, quite a drab film, but I think it's quite inventive and cine-literate. I think he's channeling films like Orson Welles' The Trial, based on Kafka. And I think he does that interestingly. And I think Jesse Eisenberg is really good as these two sides of the one
I have no
character.
problem with him as a
Jekyll
performer.
and Hyde kind of concept. What I would love to have been was a fly on the wall during the producers' meetings, because one of the producers on this film was, of all people, Michael Caine, and another was Avi's brother, Harmony Korine. Can you imagine Michael Caine and Harmony Korine getting together and saying, now, what should we do? I'm giving this 3.
I'm so disappointed. I'm giving it 1.5.
Why don't you print out 2 copies? That would make sense. That would be what a normal person would do.
Sorry.
You can't use this place for 1 copy. It was the same story yesterday.
Sorry.
You're always sorry.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Anna, can you stay late? I gotta get this thing lanced. 1 copy.
Yes, please.
The double opens in limited release this week. Our next film is Belle. In 1769, Sir John Lindsay, Matthew Good, entrusts the care of his illegitimate 6-year-old daughter Dido, also known as Belle, to his uncle, the Earl of Mansfield, Tom Wilkinson, and Lady Mansfield, Emily Watson. The little girl will be a companion for another abandoned female relative, Elizabeth Murray, who is about the same age. 12 years later, Dido, Gugu Mbatha Raw, learns that her father has died and left her a considerable amount of money. In contrast, Elizabeth, played by Sarah Gaydon, is impoverished. Dido is attracted to John Davinia, Sam Reed, the son of the local clergyman and ambitious to be a lawyer. Lord Mansfield, who is Lord Chief Justice, is considering a controversial case involving the deaths at sea of a great many slaves. And both Dido and Davinia become passionately involved in the outcome.
You told her they were wantonly drowned.
Those slaves were diseased. Some were already dying, yes, but it was essential that they die on the journey or they would not come under the insurance consideration. Neither, too, if they had expired of their diseases. That is why they were killed. This we all know.
You have entered my home and taken advantage of confidential matters afforded
have
you.
been for public consumption for months. Miss Lindsay is no child. No fool.
Her precious care is in my hands, and I will decide when she is ready for such realities, not the son of a vicar.
Amma Asante's handsomely produced second feature tells a compelling story on several levels. Race, class, morality, all these issues are tackled. One of its concerns is with the status of women in Britain in the late 18th century. Women who are tantamount to slaves, in that their options are very limited. The film also explores the famous Zong case that ended with a judgment that saw the beginning of the end of the slave trade, though slavery was big business in Britain then. And it's about the relationship between two young women, close friends, but separated by race and financial independence. The men who caught them, played by James Norton and Tom Felton, and their ambitious mother, Miranda Richardson. But mainly it's about an intelligent young woman who refuses to accept her allotted place in society. And Gugu Mbatha-Raw is terrific in this role. Margaret.
I thought the oldies were fabulous in this, Tom Wilkinson and Emily Watson. I thought they really grounded it. And in fact, you know, the story of this judge and his life is the thing that really interested me, because he was caught, you know, between his peers in the world of business and this world of the law that he was asked to administer. And he was, in fact, a major reformer, law reformer. Yeah. So I found that Misen Sage's screenplay was a bit ordinaire for me.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I thought it was very, very predictable in a way.
I don't agree at all. See, I found this absolutely compelling, and it's for once it's a sort of period film that's got a lot to say, and I think it says it really well. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it 3 stars.
I'm giving it 4.
I would rather dine with Dido.
What a great pity. Our young gentleman guests will miss you, Elizabeth.
Young gentleman?
Very good connections. And most agreeable by all accounts. Now close your mouth and understand. There shall be no discussion tonight in any language but English. No whispering in gentlemen's ears, not in Latin, Italian, and certainly not in French.
Penelope Wilton there as the maiden aunt. Belle opens around the country this week. In a mischievous but deeply felt adventure, director James Toback and star Alec Baldwin explore what cinema is really all about with Seduced and Abandoned. They ruminate about the truth that Bertolucci got out of Brando in Last Tango in Paris. They talk about what means something to them in film. Getting a call from Scorsese for The Aviator was immensely important to Baldwin. And so the ruminations go. But then they take a film concept to the Cannes Film Festival, where so many deals are done to find out what it takes to get a movie made these days.
Would you be interested in getting involved, financing a movie with Alec, with Neve Campbell, with 3 or 4 other names, political romantic adventure at 15 to 20 million?
Neve Campbell is wonderful, but doesn't have marquee value today.
Right.
Alec Baldwin is sensational.
Right.
But does not denote a theatrical movie.
Just for argument's sake, the kind of movie we're thinking of couldn't go much lower than that, but what would be the number that cast would be a feasible bet at?
$4 to $5 million.
The film lurches from the insightful in terms of financing on yachts in expensive restaurants to the insightful in terms of acting.
Your job is to make it seem like something new's happening every time, you know. And that's out the window when you come to set and everyone's got sides in their pocket, and even the electrician knows what you're going to say. You're like stumbling through this blocking rehearsal. Suddenly some guy's putting tape on the floor. And now for the rest of the day, you're married to where you stood at 6 a.m. They start with the wide shot, which in most things they never use. And you're spending all of the newness of it on the wide shots. Then they get closer and closer and closer. And by the end of the day, they're on the close-up, which is all they ever use. And they use the last one because that's when you got it. That's when you nailed it. But now you're talking like a robot. And you leave set feeling like a failure because you feel like nothing changed.
It's so delicious, this film. It's funny, it's cheeky, it's depressing, and I don't know exactly what they're trying to do with the death theme, but somehow they make it work. Lights out. But what you get out of it is 2 people who actually love film, love cinema, and want to explore how difficult it is to get any sort of independent vision on screen these days. And it is certainly a theme worth pursuing. They have access to stars. Ryan Gosling, as you saw, is one who is really worth listening to financiers, distributors, to anyone who's willing to come up with the money to make this last tango in Tikrit that they've cobbled together. It's a vastly entertaining but ultimately pessimistic view of the contemporary cinema business. Dave.
And I would say essential viewing for anyone at all interested in contemporary cinema. So it's a shame it's apparently getting a very, very limited release.
It is a shame. It's so entertaining and fabulous.
It is. It's terrific. I mean, James Toback has always made interesting independent films. But this is something a bit different. I mean, look, I don't for one moment believe in this project, this last tango
in Tikrit. No, I didn't either.
But it's lovely to see the way he's willing to compromise bits and pieces as in an effort to get money out of any kind of money, some kind of money, to make this film. But what I also loved was the contributions of some of the major figures these days, like Francis Ford Coppola, Roman Polanski, Martin Scorsese, Bertolucci.
Yes.
I mean, all these people talk about their work and what Cannes has done for them. It's really a fascinating film. I'm giving it 4 stars.
So am I, 4 stars.
The movie business to me has changed. It seems very fragile. I don't know how much longer the film business can go in the age of this splintering. The technology is splintering the audience, and it's happening slowly, but something tells me it's going to shatter. The movie business is the worst lover you've ever had in terms of you go back again and again and again, and you go back seeking to recreate this experience you want to have. You go back with another chance to do something that you want to do in movie making and movie going. You are seduced and abandoned over and over and over again.
Seduced and Abandoned opens, as we said, in very limited release this week. And on our website, there's an interview with Alec Baldwin and James Toback. And now for A Castle in Italy. Louise, played by director Valeria Bruni Tedeschi, is an actress approaching middle age who's decided to retire from her profession to, as she puts it, make room for life. Louise, whose Italian family has in the past been wealthy, is very close to her brother Ludovic, Filippo Timmi, who is sick with AIDS. Her mother, played by the director's real mother, Marissa Barini, is deeply in debt. There are unpaid back taxes and high maintenance costs on their Italian castle. Meanwhile, Louise meets Nathan, Louis Garrel, a young actor, and they have an affair.
Allez!
Je voulais pas être avec toi, c'est toi.
Allez, remonte.
J'étais bien toute seule.
Mais non, t'avais une petite gueule toute triste en moi, t'étais sans vie.
Sans vie, mais bien. Je me suis débrouillée pendant des années, je me suis débrouillée. Je m'étais habituée, j'avais besoin de personne, j'ai besoin de personne. Voilà, je vais prendre le métro. Va-t'en, s'il te plaît. Moi, je vois rien devant nous, je vois pas de temps, pas de futur, pas d'enfants. Pourquoi tu veux des enfants, toi?
Je sais pas, non.
Voilà, alors que moi je sais, moi, c'est mon rêve. Moi, je meurs si j'ai pas d'enfants, je meurs.
This is the third film directed by Valeria Bruni Tedeschi, and it's a very personal one. She comes from a similar family to the one depicted in the film, and her brother died of AIDS in 2006. It's a heavily symbolic Chekhovian tale about family life in times of change, and it's also filled with insider references, including the fact that Bruni Tedeschi and Louis Garrel were in fact partners off-screen, and Louis' father, Philippe Garrel, is seen directing his son. The film flits back and forth between Paris and the Italian countryside, and it looks great, but for me the main drawback was the director's own very mannered performance, a performance that irritates when it surely should be sympathetic. Margaret.
I've actually never been very fond of her as an actress, and I think when she's directing herself, she's got even less control, actually. And the creation of the character just seems to me so superficial and unbelievable, actually. And where you should be feeling something in this film, I found I didn't. It was really very strange. So I don't know. I mean, I think there are some good things in it. I think her mother gives a great performance,
she's very
to tell
good.
you the truth.
Yeah.
But somehow or other, this one did not work for me either. I'm turning into a real grouch this week. I'm giving this 2.5 stars.
Well, look, it had some insights. I'm giving it 3.
Quale gente? Quale
Che
gente? Entrare
alcune
dove?
domeniche ci potrebbe essere molta gente.
Ma quale sindaco?
Io.
Sono io il sindaco.
Questo posto, secondo me, dovrebbe essere pieno di bambini. Vede dei bambini lei?
No.
Perché non ne abbiamo per questo.
Al sindaco non interessa.
Io personalmente vorrei darvelo, donarvelo gratis e non so, ne potreste fare per esempio una colonia di vacanze per bambini poveri o un centro di drogati. Noi in ogni modo non ci vogliamo più stare.
Tu non vuoi più starci, scusa. Io sì, io adoro questo.
Ma se non ci vieni mai, scemo.
Lo adoro lo stesso, scema.
Per adesso dobbiamo cercare di tenerlo e di fare un museo domenicale. Non confondete il sindaco, perché non possiamo più permetterci.
A castle in Italy opens around the country in limited release this week. Now, my classic this week is 1985's Ran from the great Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa. Inspired by the legends of the Lord Mori Motonari, who had 3 sons who were all courageous and loyal, Kurosawa wondered what it would have been like to have 3 sons, not all of whom were brave and good. Kurosawa says he was not aware of the similarities to Shakespeare's King Lear until after pre-planning of Ran began. It's famous for its beautiful formal compositions, the use of colour, and for the magnificent, overwhelming battle sequences. No CGI used in this film to create extras. It tells the story of the downfall of the Ichimonji clan, led by Lord Hidetora, played by Tatsuya Nakadai, who had been a ruthless warrior, destroying many castles and families in attaining the power he now enjoys. He's an old man and he wants to hand over his power, and this moment sets the scene for the mayhem to follow.
重ねて一同に申し渡す。ただいまより太郎がこの一文字家の棟梁、この国の主じゃ。わしは一の城の本丸を太郎に譲り、二の丸へ移る。従う者は側近の30名とし、大殿の名目格式だけはとどめ置くが、国事平和の体験は全て太郎のものだ。この旨一同しかと心得よ。はあ。心得ました。しかし我ら次郎三郎にも今後のお指図を賜りと存じます。次郎三郎には二の城三の城とその所領を与える。共にその城を固め、一の城の太郎を助けよ。わしはある時は一の城、ある時は二の城三の城の客となり、余生を楽しみたい。
Ran was Kurosawa's last epic with 1,400 extras and 200 horses. He'd found it increasingly difficult to finance his films and was so depressed after the failure of Descadène in 1970 that he attempted suicide shortly after. He was 75 years old when he made Ran. Little wonder that he identified with Hidetora and the terrible disillusionment and madness that engulfs him. It is a very bleak film. No one escapes their fate. The gods have abandoned mankind, but were they ever there in the first place? 2 performances in the film are reminiscent of traditional No drama, that of Tatsuya Nakadai, particularly with his ghostly makeup, and that of Miko Harada as Lady Kaida, whose presence in the film is a catalyst for much destruction. At nearly 3 hours, it is absolutely riveting from beginning to end. David.
It's interesting because, of course, Kurosawa had made in the mid-50s Throne of Blood, which was based on Macbeth, and The Bad Sleep Well, which is very loosely inspired by Hamlet. So when Ran was released, everybody assumed that it was directly based on King Lear, but changing the daughters into sons. And it seems now that it wasn't quite as clear-cut as that. But it is a magnificent film. I mean, most of the funding came from France because by this time Kurosawa was not really trusted by production companies to successfully make the big films that he had once made.
It's sad that he was at this stage seen as too old-fashioned by younger generations.
Well, yes, that's true too. But I was very lucky. I went to the world premiere of Ran in Tokyo in front of a gala audience. It was a great experience, and it was projected out of focus all the way through.
No. Well, one of the key elements in the film is Lady Kaida, as played by Miko Harada. She's fabulous.
次郎殿、この楓、夫を殺されても何とも思いませぬ。ただわらが思うのは我が身のことじゃ。夫亡き後髪を切りやもめで通すのも、頭を丸めて尼になるのも嫌じゃ。この一の城は父の城、そこを追われるのは嫌じゃ。次郎殿、この願いを聞いてくださるなら、この楓何も申しませぬ。悪逆非道については誰にも申しませぬ。卑怯未練な言葉も口にはいたしませぬ。これを話せばこの国は乱れに乱れまするぞ。いえ、この楓がこのようにしてみせまする。いかがじゃ、次郎殿。
Wonderful, isn't she?
Oh, I can't take my eyes off her. She's wonderful.
That was Kurosawa's Ran, and next week we'll be looking at Robert Aldrich's Attack.
And that's the show for tonight. So good night from us.
Good night.